What is up, sports fans? It's more bad news in the gaming world, it seems. So it's not only PlayStation stopping the physical disc, but Xbox is resetting. It seems the Red Ring of Death has made its way back around. People are just getting laid off left and right. Studios are being closed. Here's a new green Xbox for an anniversary edition, and here's Gears of War. We're bringing back console exclusives. This, that, and the third. It all is basically white lies, I guess. But at the same time, this seems like it's a needed change because there are far too many people working at these companies for the amount of sales that they've been putting out in their games, for sure. It's definitely an overcompensation, and this seems like it was bound to happen and should have probably happened sooner. But Asha came through and she's putting her foot down, I suppose, because Phil, he said, bring him on. Let's get to hiring everybody. We are beginning the most significant restructure in Xbox history. After careful consideration, I've made the difficult decision to reduce our team by approximately 3,200 throughout fiscal year 27. This will include approximately 1,600 role eliminations today, which was July 6th, 3 days ago. And in addition, 4 studios will leave Xbox to new management. At least the 4 studios aren't going to be just like disbanded and gotten rid of, because I believe Arcane was one of them, and didn't Arcane make Dishonored? I'm pretty sure they did. And it's good games and stuff like that, and good people that have jobs that know what they're doing. It's like, I recognize that a year-long restructuring creates additional challenges. Unfortunately, it is not possible to make all the necessary changes in a single day, and I wanted to be direct about the scale. I know this is painful. These changes will directly affect people who have poured their creativity into building Xbox. Many joined us through acquisitions, while others were recruited here or sought us out because they loved the industry and loved Xbox. Today's decisions do not reflect their talent or dedication. See, the thing is, too, is like, I grew up on Xbox. Like, I didn't get a PlayStation. I had PlayStation 2, and then I went from PlayStation 2 to Xbox 360. The Xbox 360 then was amazing. Like, Halo, Gears of War was awesome back then. Just, it was all around just amazing to have. Everyone, when you go to school, be like, yo, what are you playing on? They'd be like, oh, I got an Xbox, got an Xbox, got an Xbox. And it was lit. Now, ever since they tried to turn the Xbox into this entertainment system and make it more than gaming and all this stuff, things have just gone downhill. It's been so bad. All Xbox had to do is keep making games. If PlayStation has God of War and PlayStation has Sly and PlayStation has, I don't know, all of these games, Little Big Planet, PlayStation has, and these are like niche ones that now at this point, Little Big Planet's not even popular anymore. PlayStation has even the FromSoft exclusives like Bloodborne. There's not a lot of reason to own an Xbox. Our business today is not healthy. Because this is exactly why I'm saying they tried to just turn into an entertainment system. They should have left everything alone, kept making good games. We're opening at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing businesses. We entered Generation 9 with a smaller install base and a higher cost structure. To grow, we bet on Game Pass, a multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. There is no gamer buying Game Pass for the games that are on there besides 1 or 2 of them. Like, they see a Call of Duty come out and maybe they want to try it. Instead of blowing $80 or $60 on a Call of Duty game, they're just going to get Game Pass and they're just going to use it for the one game. Like, they could take away 70 to 80% of the games on Game Pass, and the people that are paying for Game Pass will still pay for it because they're using it for just one game. So we bet on Game Pass, multi-platform, and a broader portfolio of content. While those businesses have created meaningful value, they did not grow at the pace we expected. Well, they price hiked the shit out of Game Pass too. If people are paying for just 1 or 2 games with Game Pass and then the price hike, they're actually better off just buying the game at that point, because 3 months of paying for Game Pass would have just been the same price as buying out the game initially. So as that happened, our core business weakened and we added more teams, more investment, and more time, hoping for a better outcome. Guys, we want it to work. All right, you want it to work? Bring more. We're going to hire you and you and you, and you get a job and you get a job and you get a job. They're Oprah in the jobs. They say, you, come on down. We need you at Xbox. Like, dude, how would that work? How about you guys get more small, selective teams that are actually passionate about the games that they're making and really passionate about making Xbox a better brand and turning it back into what it was, which was a gaming console, not a movie console, not a Roku. Now the industry is facing the most severe hardware crisis in its history. We must reset Xbox. Well, this is AI's fault because RAM is just going up and up and up. If everything has to go up in price and you guys hired too many people, then there's just not enough money to go around. First, we'll reset our content portfolio. The red ring of death is here. Since 2018, we have aggressively expanded our studio portfolio, while the number of games created each month across the industry now outpaces the last 10 years combined. Like, all these games they put so much money into and nobody plays them. It's crazy. We now find ourselves competing not only with the largest publishers, but also with smaller independent studios. Because Expedition 33, like, these people are making inspired product. They're making games that people want to play, that gamers want to play. Them themselves are gamers. They're not just typical people that they just come to hire. That I feel like some of these people they hire at Xbox have never touched a game in their life. It is neither possible nor desirable to own every great independent studio. Yeah, that's what they tried to do. They said acquired every fucking studio possible. You can't keep up with all that. We have also learned that we are not the best home for every type of studio. In a typical year, we lost 64 cents for every dollar we invested. As we reset Xbox, we will help independent creators succeed by providing open development tools and audiences to realize their vision. Compulsion Games and Double Fine Productions will return to management and transition to independent studios with their IP, catalog, and runway for their next games. Ninja Theory and Undead Labs have entered terms to join new ownership with funding to compete and grow Senua and State of Decay 3. Because I know Ninja Theory put out Senua, if I'm correct, in the Hellblade series. I've never played any of those games, but I know they have a niche audience and people tend to like them. In State of Decay, I've played the first and the second one. I'm not a big fan of it, but again, they did promote it at the Xbox Games. In France, Arcane's management is beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. We are also making reductions across other units, and in some cases, shifting investment to focus on higher priority projects. These changes vary in size across Activision, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Blizzard, King, Mojang, and Xbox Game Studios. None of our first-party publicly announced games or projects are being canceled as part of these reductions. So State of Decay won't be canceled, Senua won't be canceled. It's just strange, that they would promote these games and still put money behind these studios and then let them go. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess nothing Xbox does makes a lot of sense these days. In addition, Mojang and King will now report directly to me, to Asha. These two studios have increasingly become platforms that are our largest bi-monthly active players. So people playing Candy Crush and Minecraft report to Asha. They bring critical geographic, demographic, and differentiation to Xbox. Second, we will reset our platform. We know that great technology gets better when it gets simpler, not bigger. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. What the fuck? Why? 14 layers of management? 14 layers? Why? This one talks to this one and talks to this one and talks to this one and talks to this one to finally get to the person where the piece of information actually matters to. This is so crazy. You know what? They probably do have too many people working there. And like I just said, the jobs aren't even for real coders and developers. They're for the fucking 11 layers of management. That's just unnecessary. Like, that is ridiculous. Our platform teams are 40% larger than they were at the start of the generation. Why are the teams getting larger if the games are getting worse and no one's playing the games? Why would you? In what kind of business do we go, hey, our products aren't selling, let's hire more people, let's get more teams, because if these products aren't selling, then if we just hire more people, then maybe they'll sell? Like, no, dude. Even as our player base and playtime have declined. They just said it. It's like, dude, that makes no fucking sense. That complexity has slowed decisions, blurred accountability. Yeah, how do you find accountability when there's 14 layers of management? How do you figure out who did something wrong with 14 layers of management? It's probably the blame game over at Xbox. Just, he did it. Oh, it's her fault. His fault. It's like, dude, make it make sense. As we reset Xbox, we will simplify. We will reduce management layers to no more than 5, and where possible 3. Yeah, that's more like it. Even 5, I feel, is a bit too much. I mean, they are a big company, I guess. We will deliver success through a flatter organization that is built around makers, individual contributors focused on building, player coaches, leaders who remain deeply involved in the work while developing their teams, and directly responsible individuals who own key decisions and outcomes. And we will streamline how we work across our tools with a cleaner code base, shared services, and 50% reduced vendor spend. As Xbox grew our headcount, we became more fragmented. Like I just said, how do you even know who is doing something wrong if there's 14 layers of management? There is no way to know who did what wrong, and then they just release product like, oh, it's unfinished or something's wrong. We'll just release it and update it later. And then no one plays it, so they don't update it later, and then just a whole bunch of money just gets shit down the drain. Teams, studios, and functions often operate independently, and it became harder to work towards a shared goal, make the right trade-offs, and get things done. They need to get rid of Xbox Live. They need to find a way for people to play on free online on Xbox and PlayStation just to compete with PC. There's no way that like someone's gonna, and then Game Pass is on PC too. So it's like, who are you marketing to? Do you want console players or do you want PC players? She will bring our business together under one operating model, making sure we make clear investment decisions, learn from our successes and failures, and hold ourselves accountable for results. These changes are about a bigger future for Xbox. Nah, y'all need to go smaller and simpler. Yeah, I understand it's a bigger future, but the bigger y'all have gotten, the worse things have gotten. Steam Machine is gonna come through. Your prices are getting up to the price of a Steam Machine anyways. There is no point in buying games on Xbox or buying anything on Xbox for that matter. The only real lingering question I have, which feels wrong in light of the news, is what happens to their library of games on Game Pass if they move out from under Xbox. I'm assuming stuff that was already announced will come to Game Pass, but I imagine it'll be more a case by case going forward. Like I said, they don't even need to keep like 50% of those games on Game Pass, because I know they have to pay for them, but the subscription model just isn't working, it seems. Games Xbox funded will remain on Game Pass as a first party, likely pre-Xbox game, staying as part of the runway funding deal. Hey, just like I said, you could probably take 60% of games off Game Pass and I'd barely notice. Like, it's bleak, but that's actually better than I thought it'd be. It's obviously not good, but I was expecting shutdowns. That's what I said. I said at least the teams aren't getting shut down, at least like they can still work on games, and if they're independent, they'll probably end up outshining Xbox at the rate that Xbox is going. Today, in some parts of the company, work passes through as many as 14 layers of management. That's insane. Awful that people are losing their jobs, of course, but I think clear and level-headed decisions like this from Asha is what's going to save Xbox, if that's even still possible. Yeah, 14 layers is crazy. Dante's Inferno had less layers of hell than they had layers of management in Xbox. Like, what the fuck? There was a recent restructure in the company I worked at, and they ended up finding out 17 positions that contributed nothing to the company. And this is just a company this guy is working at. So imagine Xbox, a huge company like that. Imagine how many people show up to work and do fuck nothing all day. Makes me think Phil got way too long of a leash. 14 layers of management just means everyone is paralyzed by process, which is the worst thing in the world for creatives and game devs in particular. They're just stuck working on bullshit when people want to be inspired and stuff like that, because they got to report to this one and report to that one. They can't even work on things that they want to. And if they have an idea, who do they go to get the green light for that? So, like, you know, it's like, who do you go to if you have a creative idea when there's 14 layers of management? No wonder a lot of Xbox games are a mess and lacking in dedicated vision. They were all made by a way too big committee and no one actually owned anything. Xbox stopped acquiring more studios equals more subscribers. Well, they were wrong. They paid developers upfront to release games on Game Pass that very little people played, and even worse, didn't even buy. Yes, subscription fatigue. This is when people are tired of paying monthly for everything. People want to own things. People are not trying to keep paying for things every single month. Like, 14 layers of management is genuinely fucking absurd to conceptualize. Imagine being a dev that has to ask their boss who asked to ask their boss. And who has to get on a Zoom call with 5 other heads, who then has to report to a CTO. And even that scenario is 5 layers. I was saying even 5 layers is too much. Because it's like, dude, I just have a creative idea and I just want to know if we could do this or not. Yeah, Asha does mean business, it seems. Asha probably walked in that shit show and said, what the fuck? She said, why are there so many managers and management? Yeah, you know what? Phil or nobody else mentioned that like, they just kept pushing along and chugging along like Xbox was going to be good again. Like, at least Asha is able to say, like, this is bullshit and we need to change this. And, like, being kind of a forthright with, like, what's going on there. As much as Asha is the fall guy, I can respect the memo at least being transparent at how badly Xbox has been managed since the mid-2010s. It's so long now. It's crazy. 16 years, dude. 20 years since Xbox has been like the go-to console is insane. Having 14 layers of management and scattershot communications on top of pumping billions into unsuccessful ventures, and it's no wonder things have been on a downward spiral for so long. I'm glad no studios were shut down, but feel for all those who lost their jobs and hope better things are on the horizon. Ditto, man. Oh, what the hell? I just said that. 14 layers of management would be literally worse than hell. That's 5 more than the circles of hell. Phil's Inferno. Oh, this sounds like an MLM. Every manager is incentivized to have as many people under them as possible. The manager with 1,000 people is more important, gets paid more, and theoretically is responsible for more than the guy with only 100 reports in their org. Directly managing more than about a dozen people is difficult. Instead of adding lots and lots of direct reports, make all of your direct reports managers too. This is especially great because you can reduce your number of directs and still have the same overall number of people. When everyone is doing this, you eventually end up with a bunch of long chains everywhere of 10 managers, each with a few direct reports. They're in meetings all day, seemingly coordinating stuff, but they basically never interact with the people at the bottom building stuff. A bunch of people that don't play games, don't know anything about Xbox. They have to be low oversight, because how do you even let it get that bad? There is no way it could even get that bad if people were actually like watching the games that the companies and the developers that they were hiring were making. They literally were just like, oh, this company is making money, come on, we're gonna hire you. We don't even care about what products you're putting out or what games you've made. We're just gonna hire you because we have money right now. Yeah, I forgot about Redfall. Okay, Arcane made Redfall. That's right. They didn't make a... They might have made Dishonored. Hold on. Yes, they did. Wow. How do you go from making a game like Dishonored to Redfall? That is so crazy. It's obviously not the developer's fault because they've made good games in the past. That's so wild to me. It's the live service trap, it seems. And even then, it's like, if games are just being updated anyways, like even games that aren't live service, like Terraria, and like these games have been going on for over a decade, like they're not technically live service. So it's like, why do they prioritize that so much when they can just put out a good game and just update it with updates and people will still play it? Like, I don't understand. It's just the fact that they want more money. Like, put a cosmetic shop in there, put a battle pass in there, let's milk these gamers' pockets, and it's fucked up. But I mean, now they're paying for it, and now there's gonna be a reset, Red Ring of Death, a reset, quote unquote. It's because it's crashing. No one's paying for their product. I personally still play World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Stalker, and these games are more than a decade old. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Instead, Xbox got their whole toolkit out trying to fix up something that doesn't need to be fixed. They could have just kept doing the same thing. And Halo is like the biggest... It's so sad what happened to Halo. Truly. Thank God they didn't just close the studios. I'm sure if they're independent now, it'll be harder to get the funding for games, but at least it gives them a chance. That's what I said. Like, watch them come out with a game that does even better than anything Xbox does. Look at Expedition 33. Like, literally, Ubisoft developers that came from that boring, uninspired ass company that everyone thought like, oh, maybe it's the developers' faults for these games. Like, no, it is not. They're just not being allowed to make things that they want, and when they do, it's a friggin' success, just a crazy success. The hole is so deep that I don't know how they would be able to climb out of it. You know, I'm here for it anyways, and if something does happen, I want Xbox to succeed. You know what I mean? That's what I grew up on, and that's what I loved playing. And maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia, but I still have a little bit of faith. But maybe I shouldn't. But alright, everybody, thanks for listening to me yap. If you like hearing me yap, like and subscribe, and I'll keep on yapping.